We good to go, or are we gonna wait for a little bit more?
Well, no, it just ended right now. Hello and welcome to Field. Good evening and welcome to Field Talk. I am the Field, also known as Field of Bears, here to remind you that socialism always ends in starvation and genocide. Tonight we are going to do the very first in a series of Steelman shows. I have with me tonight Tommy Lee, who is not a Chinaman and is in fact Hmong, one of the Bears and a very good dude. Tonight he will be arguing for the position that we should believe women, and I will be taking the opposing position. This is in not necessarily a response, but maybe because of what's been going on with the Kavanaugh hearings and what the Democrats and social justice people have been saying. It is not his actual position. Please don't tell him he's a socialist who should take a helicopter ride. Alright, so I'm going to switch screens to show your beautiful face. Got anything to shill before we get started?
Oh, I think I'm good. I'm not gonna plug myself or anything. I'm pretty secretive. So.
All right.
Whenever you are ready.
You can be secretive. Also, go buy my mug.
Yeah.
All right. So I see. Why should we believe women, you filthy mouse commie?
Well, there are many rapes that happen out there that are not reported ever, especially with this Judge Kavanaugh case, right? Miss Dr. Ford, she obviously experienced something, and when it comes to Judge Kavanaugh, regardless of what happened back, that many years, we have to investigate what actually happened, and it seems like the Republicans don't really want to do that when it comes to this case, because they just want to get this judge put in. I've heard many arguments like they would rather, this isn't relevant, but case where
okay, so it seems like the first argument you'd like to address is that there are many rapes that occur that do not get reported.
That's correct.
Okay, so the general reporting rate for crime is about I think 20%. General violent crime. This includes sexual assault and rape. But if you take sexual assault and rape as its own class, it is around 30%. So it is higher than the general reporting rate for general violent crime. I'm sorry, but I don't think you can say that rape is actually worse than murder, because, well, you can recover from being raped. I have yet to see someone recover from being murdered.
Well, the stats I have right here are 994 out of 1,000 rapes are reported, right? And this is from a federally done study. There are many rapes that are out there that aren't reported because they're perpetrated by family members. They're perpetrated by people who are close to the victim. And these victims, they're afraid that something might happen to them if they report it to the police, or maybe the police won't do anything about it. And you know how sometimes things fall through the cracks, right? And if they report it to the police, then the police, the guy walks away, and then the victim is more likely to experience hardship because of it, and maybe like some form of violence. Like how many of those murders are stem from our victim, like our rape victims, right? We don't really know that.
Well, see, that's the thing about what you just said, the stat you said about so many rapes going unreported is, how do they know that they're unreported per 1,000? If they're unreported, then it's a statistic that cannot be found without them being reported. So
that's
So what they might be is not reported in the most timely manner, but in order for them to be included in the study, they would have to be reported. Otherwise, it's data that is speculative.
Right, and that's true. And maybe it's the poll surveys where women felt like they were unjustly, or they might have been touched, they might have been molested in some form way, sexually molested, and then they go back afterwards and they tell other people. Especially with this Judge, obviously the Judge Kavanaugh case, which is pretty prominent right now. Something happened to Miss Ford, and she never talked about it to anyone. Even her own best friend, who she claims is mentally ill, didn't talk to anyone about it until now. Recently, with Kavanaugh's hearing, something must have triggered her memory for it to be brought back up again. Now,
it's actually it's interesting that you bring up memory. Mm-hmm. There's actually been 4 meta-analyses done of a sample of over 10,000 studies on memory that universally show that memory degrades over time in both accuracy and potency. Mm-hmm. And so the longer something goes unreported, meaning the longer someone just holds on to a memory and doesn't actually say anything about it, then the less they can actually be sure of the details which they're recalling. And so right. that just goes to show the importance of making, if someone experiences crime, the importance of making the report it as soon as they possibly can, and right. and getting as much documentation as they possibly can as soon as they possibly can. Because without corroborating evidence, all you're going by is the memory of a single person, which, as everyone knows, becomes less reliable as over time. You can remember things you did yesterday with a lot more clarity than things that you did 30 years ago. You can remember a traumatic event that occurred to you last week with a lot more clarity than you can remember a traumatic event that occurred 30 years ago.
Yeah, and I would agree with that sentiment. But obviously, the all of that is built on something that happened to Miss Ford on that day, and we aren't sure if it's Kavanaugh or not. There are many people. I believe that we should be investigating it further, just to make sure Kavanaugh didn't do it. What if Kavanaugh did do it? Do we want him sitting on the Supreme Court justice for the rest of his life if he did commit that crime? That's why we're calling for an FBI investigation. We should, investigate the matter fully, right?
Okay, now it sounds like you're moving into an argument about due process.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm just saying that her memory is based on something, and we should believe, like obviously the argument is believe all women, and we should believe that something happened to her, and we should try to figure out what did happen.
Okay, if I grant that something did happen to Miss Ford, mm-hmm. then then how can we know that her testimony is 100% accurate, given the fact that she's recalling a traumatic event that happened 30 years ago that has not been corroborated by any evidence, and all 3 of the witnesses who she's named has directly refuted it, either by saying that it didn't happen flat out, or they don't recall anything of the kind ever happening.
Yeah, we received documents from them, but we haven't gotten actual investigation, right?
When we're talking about testimony, that's all you can get from them. An investigation into something that has no physical evidence will just be collections mm-hmm. of testimony.
Yeah, I think we could subpoena those people and try to get actual testimony and investigate further, though, and try to figure out what happened and when that party happened. Everything is still very vague, right? It was just Miss Ford going up on the stand and doing her piece. That tying into, other cases where people are raped, right? maybe Miss Ford might not be the best example, but going to other cases where people are raped and they never report the crime, like imagine if it was, a woman who was close to you, wouldn't you want to try to do your best or make sure the law does its best to investigate those matters?
Well, yeah,
And,
that would require her to make a report or tell someone or tell
mhm,
me.
yeah.
When you're talking about rapes that go unreported, that's 100% in the victim's court.
Mhm.
I can't make women go out and report crimes that happen to them, just like no one can make me go out and report a crime that happens to me. I haven't reported times when I was touched without my permission in a way that might have been sexual for the so-called perpetrator because it was just someone copping a feel on my butt.
And why
I
didn't you report that?
Because it wasn't a big deal. It was just my butt. I know what I can enforce my physical boundaries just fine. And
Right.
and when I turn around and tell someone, "Hey, that's my butt. You're not allowed to touch it," generally they just turn around and say, "I'm sorry."
Yeah, I'm not sure if women feel the same way with you. They are like smaller in stature, and they always have that fear
Look
of
at you could
physical
eat
violence.
me. Look at me. Come on. I
Yeah,
only
that's.
weigh 140 pounds.
But do people want to bang you like they bang women? I guess is the argument.
Are you calling me ugly?
No, 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 no. I'm not calling you ugly. I'm just saying, man.
How do you know I don't identify as a woman? No, no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now you identify.
that's
Well, I
it.
believe you now, Feel the
Yeah,
Bear.
that's
And we
yeah.
should investigate. We
I'm
should
very
investigate that matter
yeah.
where your butt got
All right.
touched.
I'm being very I'm being very facetious in that line of argument. But
No,
like you were saying. But see, here's the thing. Here's the thing is for unreported rapes, for unreported crimes, it requires the victim of the crime to come forward and make the report. Otherwise, nobody knows it occurred. And so, but for whether or not the crime needs to be believed, not necessarily. It should definitely be investigated. That's not the same thing as being believed. Because if someone made an allegation against you, I'm sure you would want the investigation to proceed forward and exonerate you if it is in fact a false allegation. If no evidence corroborating the allegation against you can be found, then I think you should be considered exonerated and not be considered to have gotten away with it.
hmm Yeah, yeah. I think when it comes to those things, if I do ever am put in a position like that, I want it to be investigated, fully, and I'll wholeheartedly join the investigation. But I would never put myself in a position like that in the first place, right? Like if you were to be going to a party underage, like Judge Kavanaugh did, with a bunch of people,
Well, see,
regardless,
here's the thing: is he claims that he was never at such a party.
but he's had many parties like that before, right? Where he's gone to many parties like that. So like, can you recall a party that you
He's
went to
had
when you were 30 years ago?
he claims to have been at many parties, but not many parties where there is heavy drinking and sexual assault going on. He claims to have always been under control and to have only began drinking when he came of age, which at the time was 18 in Maryland. So I
I
think
heard rumor.
that's a very important detail. Just because
Yeah.
18 is considered underage now, it was not
hmm
considered underage at that time in that place.
I heard rumors that Kavanaugh was underage during that time, but I would have to corroborate that, like look into that further.
Without any evidence beyond
Yeah.
rumors, are you really prepared to call this man a habitual underage drinker?
Whether or not he was, I would say that it adds into the environment, right? So like if everyone started to get drunk and maybe, you know,
Well, if you want to use the Kavanaugh case, then I would like to bring up the Duke lacrosse case, where where an exotic dancer claimed that the entire lacrosse team brutally raped her on the shards of a broken glass coffee table, which turned out to have been entirely fabricated.
That's true, and that usually cases like that where there are false rape claims, it's very easy to parse out the good ones and the bads, and unfortunately, there are many
Well,
cases
see, the
like that,
thing
or
about
up
that
and
is
coming cases like
the
that.
story that's being told generally doesn't have any corroborating evidence. Such as witnesses that are called forward by the alleged victim that directly refute her testimony, or perhaps testimony from the alleged perpetrator that directly refutes the testimony, or perhaps credit card receipts in a location different from the alleged crime, or other such things, that pieces of evidence or testimony which don't corroborate the allegations. Because we need to remember the fact that whenever someone makes an allegation against somebody, it's not incumbent on the alleged perpetrator to prove that they are innocent. It is on the alleged victim to produce evidence or testimony that corroborates their story.
Yeah, and that I would agree with that too. But how about cases? There are many cases out there, right, where the woman, does go through something traumatic, or they experience things. They feel very vulnerable because of the situation they were put in, and there's no way for them to respond. Like, how do you respond to if someone starts going around saying that like some person groped me, or like they made untoward advances? Well, those don't really have actual physical evidence, right? Like, what if someone pushed me against a wall and it almost uh, basically sexually molested me? Like,
who else was there? Were there video cameras? Did anyone have any video? Were there any witnesses?
What if no one was there?
Were there any other victims? It's like, if it all comes down to he said, she said, I'm afraid that unless you can come up with some kind of physical evidence, then we can't assign guilt to somebody, because that would just open up the door to anyone to make accusations against anybody else without any evidence.
I'm willing to bet that like someone who does do that has done it before, and I'm willing to investigate the whole situation, right? Like, if the cops don't listen to their girl, what if this dude has done it to many people? And this could be one case of many, and this can go down, and lead to this dude being arrested who's might have attacked a woman. Do you know what I'm saying?
I did know what you're saying, but the argument isn't that cops shouldn't listen to alleged victims. The argument is that cops should listen to them and then attempt to find corroborating evidence. They should make an investigation. They shouldn't pass judgment on either the alleged victim or alleged perpetrator. The cops should just make the investigation and see if they can find evidence that would bring the case forward, and follow the evidence where it leads. And if the evidence leads away from the alleged victim's case, if it ends up being non-corroborating evidence or even exculpatory evidence, then I'm sorry, then the alleged victim has made a false allegation, and then it becomes a question of whether or not it was made in malice or in error.
Yeah, and I would actually agree with that. If someone did falsely accuse someone of rape, they shouldn't be, they should not be doing that, and it should be, persecuted to the extent of law, right? Or however you say it. But there are many cases where a woman is put into that position and there is no recourse, right? And what do we do about situations like?
I I agree, but there are many cases where a man is falsely accused and he has no recourse, like
That's true.
like the famous 7 years in hell vexatious litigant case,
Hmm.
or the Rolling Stone case, or the Duke Lacrosse case, or just a whole litany of cases which turned out to have been false. But even these cases, which are there are more cases which are far less famous, which ended up having long-lasting detrimental effects on the people involved, on the gentlemen who were accused, who have no legal recourse against the women who made false accusations against them, either because they were not believed or because a statute of limitations has come into effect, or because, well, the woman absconded. But that's the same thing with any kind of a vexatious false allegation made against anybody, because that's not the only crime that is subject to false allegations. There are people falsely accused of theft and murder and all other sorts of crimes as well. This isn't women only do this sort of thing either.
Yeah, and that's true. That's true. Um, I guess the crux of the conversation, or the crux of the I believe woman argument, comes from the point that, you know, as the more stigmatized, like more sexualized sex, we should try our best to make them feel comfortable. And unfortunately, I feel sometimes they're not taken as seriously as they should be. And
Okay.
you know, it
Okay,
is.
if it's about making sure that women feel comfortable bringing true allegations forward, what do you think high profile cases which turn out to be fabricated due to the confidence of women who have actually been assaulted?
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
If Believe Women is about making sure women feel comfortable bringing true allegations forward, what do you suppose high profile cases which turn out to be fabricated due to that confidence?
So, like, can you give me like a case? And this is
Well, I'll repeat the Rolling Stone
yeah,
case. And what do you
yeah,
think that did
yeah.
to the confidence of women who have actually been assaulted or raped?
Yeah, it does affect a lot, right? Like if someone actually was raped that way, right? It would be rough. So I'm out of gas, Peter Bears. I can't do this anymore. God damn it! I
Yeah. Hey,
try.
I think you did a really good job with the
Oh
progressive
man,
arguments. I think I actually
yeah,
did. You did a much better job than any of the people who argued with me on the Twitter before I was permanently banned for annoying socialists and pedophiles.
yeah. I mean, I tried to be as empathetic and sympathetic as possible, but it was very, very
Yeah,
difficult.
yeah. The chat actually has been really enjoying this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, since we have the thing going, the interview screen going, I neglected to add a capture for the chat going. But yeah, we've got people talking about the Kavanaugh case, got people talking about believing women, and we've got people talking about farming rabbits. But
Mhm.
as far as this whole Kavanaugh stuff goes, this has just all been a trial in the court of public opinion, and
Hmm. Yeah, it's definitely bullshit. Like, it's ridiculous. You know, there is literally evidence that Kavanaugh did this. You know, like Miss Ford's has no corroborating evidence. You know, all of every witness any person who was there is dismissing the claim, and I don't know. I don't know what to do.
yeah. Boulder Bear says he wouldn't even rape you. By the way,
Dude, Boulder, I thought you'd said you would rather sleep with me than kill Switch. Come on, man. Don't get my hopes up.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, well, I think that what's going on right now is just a political calculation to delay the vote. That's what I think is going on. I think
Hmm.
it's mercenary, and I think that you probably agree with me right here.
Yeah, and I definitely do. And yeah, it was very trying to argue the other side. The only way you could do it plausibly is if you started arguing from emotion and not actually pulling up physical cases. You
No,
know,
you were doing logos ethos. I didn't see any pathos in your argument. I don't think that you go with pathos when you do
yeah,
arguing in general. So I think you did a fine job with this topic. But
thank you.
yeah, we went for almost half an hour just on this. Are you sure you don't have anything to show?
Um, let's shill the not fake news mug sponsored by Steve Pender coming out to a store near you, and we're totally taking that over for
Yeah,
us on YouTube.
the not fake news is definitely a real thing that exists.
Yeah,
It is not fake news.
and it's sponsored by Steve Pender.
It'll be at the Walmart on the shelf right underneath
Yeah,
the Mickey Mouse mug.
yep, it'll be on websites just like your. And don't forget to buy Field Bears mug, the more
Yeah,
superior mug.
yes, the Superior Handsome mug. The link is in the description. It's just called my logo mug. I
Yeah,
will come up with
and it's cheaper than Pender's mug. That
it is
money's
cheaper,
represented.
and
It is way cheaper,
there's
and it's
actually
nice looking.
yeah, there's a sale going on Redbubble right now. So if you want to get my mug and also a mug that has someone else's art on it, you get a discount.
Exactly.
But I still
So
get
get
the
those
same
handsome
amount of
mugs.
money.
Boom. There we go. Get those handsome mugs. Guys, show Pender who the real capitalists are. And with that note, I think Fido Bear, closing statements.
Um, yeah, anything you got? Let's go ahead and let you state your actual position once more
Yeah.
in case someone from like the danger zone or not fake news comes around and decides to clip you out of context. So that way you can point them to the full live stream.
Kavanaugh did nothing wrong. That's it. Or he didn't rape Dr. Ford or Miss Ford in this situation. So
No, I think that he's innocent as well,
yeah.
and I think he should be confirmed.
Yep.
I would have preferred a different justice, but I didn't think we were going to get anything better for this seat.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is, right? This is what we're stuck with, and this whole situation has been a travesty and absolutely ridiculous. Just
No.
grandstanding on all of the left side, and
well, we did have right wing grandstanding as well, but it's like, what else can you do when what else can you do when the other side isn't making any arguments? I was shocked and flabbergasted in the most pleasant possible way when useless Billy Graham became the Golden Graham.
Golden Graham, yes, Golden Graham, that was great.
I'm gonna go ahead and let you go and keep the show going for 30 minutes then.
Sounds good. I'll come join the common folk in the chat.
So all right, see you in the chat.
Have a good rest of your streaming. Yep.
All right, that was Tommy Lee, who was one of the Bears, and I think for the next Steelman, I will put the chat up on the screen for you guys. But I have been keeping an eye on the chat, and you guys, yes, you guys have been very interesting as well. Hello, everyone. I think, yeah. So, you think that Kavanaugh must be voted in because of his stance on treason? That is very, very interesting. That's an interesting perspective. I would not throw Tommy out of a helicopter, either space battleship. He is a fine capitalist and should definitely not join the socialists in the ocean. I will definitely be having a drink after stream, guys, but I have a rule of almost never drinking on stream because it is a bad plan. The golfing pimp. I am wearing a desert cover tonight. This is not one of my flat caps. Ooh, I forgot. I don't need to wear headphones anymore because I've gotten off the call. Actually, you're right, Space Battleship. No one should ever vote Democrat after this nonsense. The Democratic Party should die. Maybe the Greens can be the silly left-wing party in this country. I thought for a long, but they might be saved. They might get saved because I thought for the longest time that the Republican Party was beyond redemption. But then Trump came around. See, Goose Bear, the thing is, his confirmation is pretty much inevitable, and even if he doesn't get confirmed, the Democrats will not be taking over the Senate, the midterms. So even if he doesn't get confirmed before the midterms, then there will be a Trump nominee in that seat within the next 2 years, and we've got another 4 years of Trump after that. I think almost guaranteed, especially after how well he's been handling the North Korea stuff. Yes, Democrats need their own drain in the swamp. I agree, Space Battleship, but I don't think that they're just a bit too tribal. I mean, it's like I didn't bring this up in the debate, but you know they never say like believe Juanita Broderick or believe well, no, she's dead. Never mind that. But they never say believe any of Bill Clinton's accusers or any of the accusers on the Democratic side. They never say believe those women. It's more like believe women when they're saying bad things about the red team because red team bad, but don't believe women when they say things about our team because those women are the bad red team women. Oh, I've been actually staying on top of the Project Veritas videos. I show them out on Gab when they come out. I am just completely floored. I'm floored by what the commies who are in our government right now were saying, especially the IRS ones. If you haven't seen it yet, go onto the YouTube's search Project Veritas IRS, and you will be floored, guys. You guys will be absolutely floored by the most insane thing that you have ever seen in your life. No, Goose Bear, I have never seen that before. That would be kind of that would be just a little bit surprising, but not very surprising. I've been hoping for a lot of arrests, Fairbear. I have been hoping for a lot of arrests, but you know, Hillary and Bill Clinton are still at large, even though they have definitely been up to some shady stuff. And yes, the IRS did get Obama reelected. That's actually been proven. It's actually been proven. Yeah, pray for Tommy. Pray for Tommy Robinson, for sure. Keep Tommy free. Feed Tommy as well because that man is far too thin. Fair Bear, I don't know if it's even possible to do like a complete swamp draining. I think it might be too entrenched, but with Donald Trump, we've at least had a little bit of a slowing in the growth of the state, which is very good, I think. I saw the first half of Tommy's new video on Sky News. I didn't know he was going to sue them for it, though. Who's the coward? The last Moonin? Oh, is it Boulder? I don't know why. Yeah, Fairbear, you are correct. America does need a major correction in the way our state has been operating, because if it's just mathematically impossible for things to continue as they are. And I did see, I saw it on Molyneux's channel. He put forward an interesting idea. He said that maybe Trump is trying to get people used to working and paying taxes instead of receiving benefits, because you're more likely to oppose the growth of the state if you're paying taxes, and you're less likely to oppose reduction of benefits if you aren't on the receiving end of them. So, with his focus on the economy, it might make sense, is what he was saying, for a setup of spending cuts in term number 2. So that gave me a little bit of hope. Yeah, Robot Bear, that is one thing that tends to happen, is if the economy grows, the left likes to grow the government to match it. Yeah, Hardware Bear, you're correct. The deep state is real. There are unelected officials in the bureaus who stay on regardless of which administration is in power, and they have their own agendas, and they have their own goals, and they have their own motivations, which are not necessarily congruous with whichever administration is currently in the elected office, which is supposed to be at the head. I don't know if we need the Space Force Boulder Bear, but I do like the idea of Space Marines. I do quite like the idea of Space Marines. I'm more than a little bit, I would enjoy that. Okay, we have 20 minutes left. Spaceballs froze. I don't know if that sounds even worse. No Spaceballs froze. See, no, that would not work. That would actually destroy the United States economy if they printed a $20 trillion banknote. I mean, they tried that in Venezuela, and, well, we saw what happened. I know Spaceballs is a movie. I thought you were making a reference to Spaceballs. I didn't know Spaceballs Force was its own movie. Robot Bear, the thing is I don't know what the Space Force would look like. If it's defense capable satellites, then yes, obviously this is the next step. If it's just missile defense for satellites, I think that makes sense. But if we're talking Space Marines, less sense. Much less sense. But yeah, I do think that the idea of Space Marines is super cool, though, so I might support it just on cool factor. Now, Space Battleship, we would be erecting a statue of Trump in the God Emperor's armor because obvious reasons. He is not a mere Adeptus Astartes. He is the God Emperor of Man. Yeah, the infantry. What was it called? The Navy, Space Navy. I don't know. I don't remember what they're called, but screw the bugs. They're horrible. Service guarantees citizenship, guys. Oh, I thought that was already out. The one by Thump. His Twitter is great. I miss it. We should get on Gab some more. Yeah, I know that Space Force currently is just like administrative, and it mostly just it'll mostly just fall into the purview of the Air Force's satellite defense program. So it's current. I think what Trump wants to do is take the Air Force's satellite defense program and make it into its own autonomous branch, allowing the Air Force to focus on actual aerospace warfare instead of having purpose creep. No, aliens definitely wouldn't rape Dr. Ford, but they do respect her courage to believe they would. Hashtag wouldn't even probe you. That's a very good point, Robot Bear. Alien abduction victims pass polygraphs. We've got hashtag believe aliens and hashtag aliens too. Yeah, aliens too. Their victims. Did they consent to those grainy photographs? Did the aliens consent to the grainy photographs, guys? No, they didn't. You photograph raped them because pictures are rape now. I don't know who Kathy O'Brien is. I have no idea who that is. But I, I think what Starship Troopers. I think I would like to. Yeah, I think I would like to read the book Starship Troopers, and then watch the movie. Then read the book some more and watch the movie again. India, New Zealand, UK, China are all creating a space branch of the military. Huh? But only Trump gets mocked for it. Yeah, it's like obviously step one in any kind of next generation warfare is going to be to take out satellites because it would seriously hamper communication and location services and surveillance ability. So it's like obviously. Oh, the one saying that the Clintons are bisexual rapists. There's I did know that there was a second one, but I was told that it wasn't worth watching. So I don't know. I don't know if there are more than two Starship Trooper movies. But I do adore the movie. I adore that movie, and I want to watch it again soon because again, it's just wonderful. I love it so much. Well, that's how we'll know whether or not it's true, Boulder Bear, is if she commits suicide by shooting herself twice in the back of the head after a bizarre weightlifting accident in which she accidentally strangled herself. But suicide. Some people just get really creative with how they manage it, I guess. As a kid, you hoped that if Canada was invaded, they would access the back door to the Canada arm and crush all enemy satellites. I don't understand what that means. Yeah, Univision does not deserve satellites. No, I didn't see that space battleship. Is that a new thing? I don't pay attention to CNN because CNN is retarded and fake news and full of lies. Oh, oh. All right, I'll check it out. I'll check it out. Okay, okay. Yeah, that's actually pretty funny. The Canada built the arm on the International Space Station. Use that to crush enemy satellites. Okay, yeah, that's funny. Huh. I didn't know that. Well, good for Canada. They managed to make something for once. Good job, Canada. Good job. Although I do think that was before Justin Trudeau, who is a terrible, terrible human being with a silly French name. Trudeau. Trudeau. No, sorry, Molda Bear, but Canada is useless, and you have a silly Frenchman as your leader. So, that means that nothing you make works because you're led by the French, and the French don't work. I'm very sorry, Space Battleship. Yeah, Trudeau has ruined Canada. Poutine is French fries and gravy, which is not food, but I guess it'll keep you from starving to death. It's not a good thing, guys. It's grease and potatoes. Well, see, what you guys should do with the silly Frenchman is put him out of the side of a helicopter from maybe like 400 feet in the air. Big Derek Energy on Twitter is giving you an insult. Who's Big Derek Energy? Yes, I am from California, and I refuse to let the commies have this great, beautiful state that has the best country in the entire world, as well as just so many fantastic people. We just happen to have been overrun by commies because you guys don't give us enough helicopters to deal with the problem. Wow, the Melanie Shaw at Tommy's rally, Tommy Robinson and his supporters were carrying signs saying "Free uh, Melanie Shaw" with a picture of her. Media is so corrupt that in printed press they erase her name on the posters. The most important sexual abuse survivor in modern times for the UK. She was disappeared into the jail system nearly 3 years ago. What was she in jail for? See, Moldabear. The thing is you were supposed to fit those helicopters with remote controls, so you could just drop the entire helicopter with the celebrity inside. But were there the remote controls? No, no remote controls. She was arrested for resisting arrest. Wow. Oh, that's really Victor Davis Henson. I'll definitely be looking. Oh, arson. Not allowed legal defense. Not allowed doctors. What? That's pretty suspicious. That's not well. That's dreadfully suspicious. I don't think that's very good at all. That's pretty horrifying actually. Yeah, no, I don't like that at all. I really don't like that at all. Yeah, pray for Tommy. Hashtag feed Tommy. He's far too skinny. Everyone should go check out his videos. He's put out 2 new videos. I've seen part. Well, he might have actually put out another video since I've done my show. But the video on exposing Sky News, and he's also got the full interview up on his channel. So everyone should go check out the new stuff on Tommy Robinson's channel. It is sure to be good. I will be checking it out tonight as well. And it has been a fantastic Saturday. I think we'll be doing this again next week. Another Steelman. We will figure out sometime during the week what our Steelman will be. Oh, that is pretty special. Photographic memory. Oh, yeah. No, we should definitely be looking into that there, Bear. Thank you for letting us know. Oh, I've met really in your I have mentioned several times that I am stuck here in California. Well, not just stuck. I refuse. I refuse to let the commies have this state. My roots go back very far, and it's upsetting when I think about. I've had some Death Valley spirals. It's become a little bit of a meme, especially when Eric comes onto the show, and he thinks it's hilarious to make fun of me talking about Death Valley and Covered Wagon. I won't do it. I will not spiral on Death Valley and the commies in my state. I promise not to spiral. In fact, it is now time. I think it's like Space Battleship. You guys are Airstrip 3 at this point. After what happened in your country to Stefan Molyneux and Lauren Southern, so hey, you're in NorCal. Look, we should have a West Coast meetup sometime in the near future, I think, and we can have a meetup in Templeton or Atascadero, and it would be fantastic. So again, I'm very open to having a meetup in the near future. See, Boulder Bear, the thing is the soy is actually concentrated in Los Angeles and San Francisco. Everywhere else is pretty much good. Yeah. A West Coast meetup. We should definitely have a West Coast Fair meetup. It would be just a fantastic time. We just have lots of we could have lots of no way. To spare, I am in San Luis County. No way. It's 15 minutes to A Town? No way. What? Space battleship, that is just. He's a colonialist for wanting Brexit? That is just insane. Yeah, Airstrip 3 is absolutely insane, guys. Anywhere that doesn't have a constitution has apparently not like California is full of insane people, but at least they're restrained by the Constitution. I would definitely buy you a beer, Andrew J, if you drove to if you drove all the way over here from East Coast. Yes, Goose Bear, I'm in Slow. Well, I'm not in the city Slow. I'm in the county. I have been informed that saying the name of my town is a very bad idea, so I won't do that again. That would be because of the city San Luis Obispo. It flip flops between red and blue quite often, so that's why it looks light blue sometimes. Bear, the Magna Carta was a contract between the lords and the king, and when they started out, and now that the monarch doesn't have as much power, and the lords no longer have power, it's no longer enforceable. So they need like an actual constitution to restrain the government that makes them accountable to the people. There was a sitting member of parliament, a Green MP, who went on national TV protesting outside Farage's event, saying that Farage wants to bring back colonialism. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Even if it was Farage's opinion that the former Commonwealth countries should be able to rejoin the empire if they wanted to. That would not be that would not be colonialism. That would be giving people the option to rejoin the old nation. Now, Fairbear, the thing about it was it was just between the lords and the king. So they actually don't have a constitution. The Magna Carta was like a sort of a constitution, but their government is no longer based on it. Yeah, Boulder Bears is correct. So anyway, it is now time, guys. It is time. This has been Field Talk with the Field, also known as Field Bears. If you enjoyed the stream, please go ahead and hit the like button if you want to see more. So please subscribe if you want to be notified. Sometimes, possibly, I don't know, it may or may not work for you. Who knows? Hit the bell for notifications. If you want to give me money, you have a couple of options. You can either go to paypal.me/fieldtalk2, so the field, and get on my wall of fame, or you can click the link in the description to my mug, my very handsome mug, which is superior in every way to Pinder's ugly mug. Please buy 1 or 12. Buy some for your friends as well. And never forget, that socialism always ends in starvation and genocide. Have a great night.